Hello everyone and welcome to GodSaw's Turnbuckle, and it is time for the review for WWE NXT in your house. I know I'm doing this one a little bit later in the week than I traditionally would like to do, but that's just how time ended out working with it. But did want to go through NXT Takeover for this one, and let's go ahead and start with the opening match, which was Shotzi Blackheart, Tegan Nox, and Mia Yim going up against Real Gonzalez, Dakota Kai, and Candice LeRae. Honestly, this match was pretty decent. I did feel like this one was a little bit more spot heavy than anything. They did at least keep to storylines and kept a storyline feud going in this one, because later on in the match, you did have Candice LeRae and Mia Yim fight to the back. That does play a little bit into later in the show to go along with it as well. But it does end out with Tegan Nox defeating Dakota Kai with the shiniest wizard to go along with it. Honestly, I thought it was a decent enough match. Like I said, I felt like this was a, get your stuff in style of match, though, because you got like the obligatory dive spots, like one after another. I think Mia Yim did it, then Candice LeRae did it, then Shotzi Blackheart did it. So you did get stuff like that in this match. It was very fast paced, and I thought it at least was decent in that side of it, but didn't really do much. It really didn't come off as much of anything really that overly special or overly good, but overall I thought it was at least a decent match. Up next was Finn Balor going up against Damien Priest. Honestly, I thought this was a fantastic match. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this match. You definitely had a lot of teasing towards spots, and then it was like, oh, it'll come back up later in the match, everything to go along with it. Honestly, I thought they did a really good job with this particular match. Also, I guess to really go off and say it as well, because I did want to talk about it a little bit as well, which I'll do after this match. The old time feel of this show, you definitely got in my live reactions that were over on my Twitch page, but I do want to talk about that. But let's go ahead and continue on with Finn Balor and Damien Priest. Honestly, like I said, I thought this was a really good match. Finn Balor does get the victory in the end by doing the double stomp and then doing the coup de grace again to go along with it. It seems like maybe Finn was pseudo babyface here, though his characteristics was still his heel characteristics. He wasn't really posing with the crowd. The spotlight was on him style. But since Priest was the one who attacked him, they guess he came off as more of the babyface in this particular match. So he ended up winning with a coup de grace instead of the old 1916 move that he usually used to go along with it. That elevated reverse DDT he uses on that particular one. So overall, I thought this was a really good match. The spot of this match was the bit where it looked like Damien Priest was going to do a razor's edge to Finn Balor, but Finn Balor reversed it and then knocks Damien Priest off of the ring apron, and he fell like massively hard in a crazy way as well, because he slid off the stairs that were down on the floor to go along with it. Like I said, I thought this was a really good match. Fantastic, something to really watch with that particular one. But up next, this one's going to be up there on my match of the night, because it's either this or that main event to go along with it. But it was Johnny Gargano going up against Keith Lee. Johnny Gargano made his entrance through the front door of the In Your House set, which, before we fully get into this match, because it was a great match. It was another fantastic match with this particular one. Let's talk about the things that they did, because I kind of marked out when they did some of these old style, like WWF old day style in your house stuff. First of all, they brought the set back to the best of the ability they can. It had the window, the front door area, the garage door where the entrances were going to be done. They definitely brought it into that style of feel, and I like that touch. Of course, the stuff with Todd Pettengill as well, with the hotlines which don't exist anymore, and somebody had to explain to him they don't exist, and certain things, and then he would make a little wisecrack. It's like, it seems like technology is taking out 900 numbers. Okay, fair enough on that particular one. William Regal doing the promotional things that go to the commercials, which was in this case the ice cream bars, or they even did an Ico Pro commercial. I know Ico Pro was gone before that time, but the fact that they still did it was great. Just everything like that. The old style stuff I thought was fantastic, and it brought in the feel of everything, of being of an in your house type show to go along with it. So overall, I thoroughly enjoyed those. So Johnny Gargano and Keith Lee, North American title match. This was a fantastic match. The storytelling that they did in there, with the aspect of how Johnny Gargano would be able to combat Keith Lee. Johnny Gargano would continually go after the injured hand. He would continually go after the injured eye. Even during his entrance, you got a little snippet of a clue of what was going to happen, because he takes the house key out of the front door and then, puts it in his trunks to go along with it. And, continually going for the eye and the hand throughout the entire match allowed for Gargano to be a little bit more believable in this match, that he could do something against Keith Lee. Now, Keith Lee, of course, always fighting back from each one of those areas. Later on in the match, Johnny Gargano actually takes out the house key and digs it into Keith Lee's eye again, allowing to hit the slingshot DDT, gets a 2 count. So Johnny Gargano hits a series of super kicks, each of them getting a 2 count to go along with it. Eventually, of course, Keith Lee hits his finish, which is kind of like a jackhammer style move. I'm gonna remember the name of it. It's the Big Bang Catastrophe, and it picks up the pit victory and keeps the North American title. Again, I thought this was a fantastic match. Great way, just great storytelling throughout the entire bit of what Keith Lee was going to have to do to overcome the injuries, but also Gargano taking advantage of each of those injuries to try to get control and see how he'd be able to handle Keith Lee. Overall, fantastic match. So this brings us to Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream. This was a cinematic style match, and it was the backlot brawl. And out of the cinematic style matches, I know there's a lot of people out there saying this is probably the worst one of them. I would agree with them on this. I've enjoyed the cinematic style matches so far. This one, not so much. I'm not going to say it was a bad cinematic style match. I thought the match itself, having the Undisputed Era come back in, the Uber driver coming in, I thought was a nice little funny comedic spot to keep the action going, as well as they fought through the car. The Undisputed Era bringing in all the different chairs, which played into the end. Adam Cole driving in originally in an Undisputed Era like monster truck. And that one made it feel like, okay, this is getting a little out of hand, but I guess is what it is. I thought it at least looked cool. And then, of course, Velveteen Dream coming in that yellow Lamborghini. Ooh, that was a nice looking car. With that one. They do fight through the entire area, but you don't really get that aspect of a set piece of fighting through the other areas that weren't around the other cars that were surrounding the ring. Also, with the way that it was shot, it was like extremely dark in certain areas, but like overly lit because they had the lights on from the cars and everything to go along with it. So I felt like it messed with the cameras a bit. I mean, overall, like I said, in the terms of a match, in the terms of a brawl, I thought it was a pretty good brawl. It was just how everything was shot, I don't think really came off all that well to go along with it. That's why I feel like this is probably the worst one that they've done so far. I'm not saying it was absolutely horrible or wretched or anything like that. It just didn't really come off all that good. The ending of it saw after Dexter Lumis takes away the Undisputed Era, not Kyle O'Reilly. He hasn't been back around outside of the one little bit where they were celebrating with Adam Cole, but they take Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong, and he takes them out of the equation, just leaving Velveteen Dream and Adam Cole. Dream hits a Dream Valley Driver and does hit a Purple Rainmaker where Adam Cole was actually perched on a chair, gets a 2 count. The ending comes with Adam Cole hitting the Panama Sunrise and picking up the victory on this one, and he did it onto a pile of chairs as well. So it makes a little bit more sense on that one to go along with it. That Adam Cole was able to kick out and finisher, but Velveteen Dream wasn't able to because it was on a pile of chairs. Overall, like I said, I thought the action in the particular aspects of the match I thought was decent, but overall wasn't a best effort. And I won't even say speaking of that, because this was more of a storytelling or a building of a character style match. It's Tommaso Ciampa going up against Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross, you could definitely tell that they have really big things for him with this one, just based off of his interest with Scarlett Bordeaux and how everything plays out with that one, and how everything played out in this match as well. This was very mainly a glorified squash match with, of course, Ciampa getting some offense in and like a small tease that he may hit his finisher, the fairy tale ending, which did get countered in the end. Eventually Karrion Kross actually puts it in the straitjacket sleeper hold, and Tommaso Ciampa passes out. This match was a very short match, and it was very much dominated by Karrion Kross throughout the entire match. Again, this was more of a building of a character, and what better way to try to build a character and show them as dominant in some way, shape, or form to take out Tommaso Ciampa in quick fashion that he did. In the sense of that, yeah, they did what they needed to do. Was it a great match? Absolutely not. But it was we needed to do this, so this is what we did type thing. So this brings us to that main event. It is Charlotte Flair, Io Shirai, Rhea Ripley, triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. And boy, was this a great match as well. Like I said, this is up there in that match of the night area. It's kind of hard to tell whether or not it was going to be between Gargano and Keith Lee or this triple threat match. I'm probably going to stick with Gargano and Keith Lee on this one, just for that case. But this one is very close to that match as well. All three of these women were putting it completely on the line. They were using the set as well. Oh, I failed to mention that there was one really creative spot that they did in the Keith Lee Johnny Gargano match, where Johnny Gargano was trying to escape the match to go back through the door, but the door was locked and no one was there to open the door. Also to go along with it, and and what you get is, I think they had one of those doorbell cams. I think it's a Nest cam. I think that's what they're called. It's called Nest, and it is what they had was this great shot of Johnny Gargano and Keith Lee going after him, and they kept cutting back to the Nest cam. It was absolutely fantastic to go along with it. Also failed to mention that the way that they got to that house key spot was through the distraction of Candice LeRae and Mia Yim. They started, Candice LeRae came out, Mia Yim followed, which did allow for that spot to happen. This happened after what was probably spot of the night as well, which was the pounce through the plexiglass to go along with it. Sorry, I failed to mention that during the actual match itself. It's like popped in my head. I don't actually have a note for me. Need to do better on that. Have notes there to go along with it. And Like I said, just fantastic. But let's go again with Io Shirai, Charlotte Flair, and Rhea Ripley, which again was also a fantastic match, as well as them using that set to go along with it. A lot of people were wondering whether or not someone would go through the window. Well, yes, Charlotte Flair did throw Io Shirai through the window area. There was no glass there or anything, but it was like that. And and then there was the LED screen, which Io hits the LED screen hard. Also, Rhea Ripley throws the potted plant at Charlotte that was on the front door, which eventually set up for definitely the big spot of the match, which was Io Shirai coming off the top of the front door area onto both Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. And like I said, all three of them were, busting her ass in this match. Hard hits. It just felt like a contest between all three of them. Eventually, at the end, Charlotte Flair has Rhea Ripley in the figure eight. Looks like she's going to get Rhea to tap out again like she did at WrestleMania. And then Io Shirai comes off the top with a moonsault onto Rhea Ripley. Almost looked like her thigh and a good chunk of her body weight landed like right on Rhea Ripley's head, and picks up the victory with that moonsault. Like I said, this was a fantastic match, and Io Shirai is now the NXT Women's Champion. Looks like from most reports and everything as well, Rhea Ripley did come out unscathed in this match. She didn't get a concussion or anything to go along with it. But also other reports are saying that Charlotte may be done with NXT, at least for right now. Hopefully, there's also a lot of reports saying that maybe that Triple H does have a story in mind with this, that he's hoping that he'll be able to get to use, and this is why they went the way that they decided to go with this particular match. All I say, it was a fantastic match. Good to see Io Shirai getting that NXT Women's title. It's something I think a lot of people assumed would have happened a lot sooner, but it's good that it's happening at this point in time, and it looks like they're transitioning Io away from being a heel and being more of a babyface again, but still keeping that heel aspect and that music to go along with it. She's not going to go back to the original style where she was as a babyface to go along with it. I feel like you're going to probably get a more babyface variation of what the heel Io Shirai was to go along with it, if that is the true direction that they are even going as well. So it should be interesting to see where they go with this and everything. Overall, I thought NXT TakeOver in Your House was a fantastic show. The only real downlight of the entire thing was that backlot brawl match. And it was probably more just the way that it was shot and everything that really made that not come off looking as good. So it kind of is what it is to go along with that. But overall, the rest of the show I thought was a very enjoyable one. Props to them putting that title finally on Io Shirai as well. Let's see what they decide to do with NXT and everything to go along with it. And I think, and for everybody who tunes in, I do thank you guys for watching. If you do like what you're hearing here, do give a like, share, and subscribe. Take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great rest of your day.